Season's greetings. We want to welcome everyone to a very special Home and Podcast. This week we're covering the Santa Claus 2. My name is Adam. I'm joined by my co-host Jolly Jordan. Jordan, how are you this morning?
Super jolly. How are you doing, Adam?
Real well, because I'm talking about the Santa Claus 2. Last year we talked about the first installment. This year the second. I don't think
we're
doing the third next year.
Well, I was listening to the first one a little bit ago, and you said you really didn't want to do this movie, but the fans really just twisted your arm, and you
felt like they were doing it to spite me. It was actually really close to vote. I don't know. Those other movies aren't very good either, but at least I hadn't seen them before. I'd seen this before. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we'll get into whether or not it's better or worse than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today, the Santa Claus 2. So, Jordan, I listened back to last year's episode, and I mentioned how we spent the first, it was maybe only 10 minutes, but it felt like 45, talking about our Christmas presents, like what we wanted. So we're not going to do that this year. I know people are probably wondering, what do they want this year?
That's what everyone was asking in the mailbag. Make sure you talk about your Christmas presents.
Yeah, we got so many mailbag questions about what we wanted.
We made an executive decision, and we're going to skip over that. Whenever I think we're bad at podcasting, I go back and listen to our early ones, and I'm like, wow,
worse.
We've come a long way.
Yeah, it was really bad. Turns out the jokes weren't as funny as I thought they were at the time either. Funny how that works.
They don't age well.
But let's talk a little bit about what are you going to do for Christmas briefly. We'd be remiss if we didn't, mention, talk about at the top of the show, Christmas plans. Or
Christmas. This year will be the first year I haven't gone home for Christmas. Mm-hmm. So I'll be hanging out in Florida, so it'll be a little less snowy, a little bit less cold. They're going to go to a candlelight service at my church. You're going to spend some time with the family down here. We're going to go to a nice dinner for New Year's, if we're including New Year's in this thing.
We are not. So we'll have to edit that out.
So yeah, I'll strike that. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, it's just going to be a nice sunny Christmas.
That's nice. But you said a little bit less snow.
A little bit.
Does that imply that there will be some?
Well, I was going to tell you, around here, no one knows what snow is really like. So in towns like Celebration or even in Disney, they have this foam snow that they shoot out.
Wow.
And every single night in Celebration there's on the hour for 3 hours, a ton of people come into this Main Street area. It snows and everyone goes crazy. So there will be a little snow.
Sounds absolutely idiotic.
Yeah, that's strange.
Celebration, Florida. That's a cool town name. Sounds fictitious almost, but
it was created by Disney.
Was it?
Yeah, there's a lot you don't know, and someday I'll teach you, but now's not the time.
That's interesting. Disney, they bought Fox, Jordan. I don't know why we're not talking about that for a couple hours.
Not all of it, but some of it.
Well, enough of it to have people have opinions, which is not a surprise.
You wrote a manifesto about it, didn't you?
Yeah, I really I'm glad they're finally getting all those Marvel characters together. I love those really good superhero movies.
You were really upset that Wolverine wasn't in the Avengers, so.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was watching Logan, I was like, this movie's pretty good, but it'd be a lot better if Robert Downey Jr. was around to add some really funny quips.
Everyone was writing about net neutrality. Yeah. You were writing about the Avengers getting back together.
I was like, where's Thor, to add some just clever kind of one-line banter? But we're not here to talk about Thor, RDJ, net neutrality, Celebration, Florida, cats that may or may not be misbehaving in the background. We're here to talk about the Santa Claus 2. It's December. This episode's going to hit December 20th and probably the 24th. And Jordan, I think let's stop messing around and get into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's get real, and let's start by playing the trailer of the Santa Claus 2. What do you say?
I say sounds good. Let's do it.
Somewhere in the Arctic.
Hold it! I'm getting something on the sonar!
Dwells a legend.
I'm getting strong readings from the Cap Rock, sir!
Waiting for the day.
What is it?
Better watch out, you better not cry.
He'll come to town. He's the greatest Santa the world has ever known.
I love what you guys do, thinking outside the box.
Thanks, Santa. You're the man.
That's why they gave me the big belly.
He's made his list and checked it twice, but he forgot to read
the single most important detail in the history of Christmas.
The fine print.
I've got to get married? Yes, it's Mrs. Claus.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Tim Allen.
I don't think there's a woman out there that doesn't want a piece of this.
The Santa Claus 2.
Best thing you can say about the trailer is it's short.
Just a little over a minute.
Hot minutes. Do you want to talk about it briefly? Any major?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's stupid. I don't like how it starts.
Starts out pretty serious, like the movie.
Yeah, we'll get into that. You said that they don't. The lines that they give there are not the best lines in the movie. Although maybe they thought that they were going to be some of the better lines. I don't know.
I mean, they did do
trailer.
The Mrs. Claus. That's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah, they should just skip to that though. The stuff with the quote unquote sonar in the beginning. It's a really clever misdirect.
Yeah, it really sets the tone for the film. Your favorite part of the trailer might be the star of the first Santa Claus movie, per you, and that was Comet.
Yeah. He's really relegated to
he's
7th or 8th lead here. I mean,
it's weird because they did try to make more use of him, but we'll get into all this.
I know.
But in the trailer, he says,
yeah, go ahead.
He basically says, "There's not a woman on Earth who wouldn't want a piece of this," and then Comet's like, "Skirt, what?"
Comet is a record scratch because he's got a turntable in front of him.
He says, "Child, please." He says, "Please."
You nasty Santa. They do. They make it seem as though Comet's going to be more prominent than he actually is. But no, they introduce a new inferior reindeer to the squad, and I don't know that pays off.
You don't know that it pays off. Oh,
I mean, I don't want to give away my hand too early on here. It's not a very good trailer. I actually think the trailer makes the movie seem worse than it actually is. But
it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to get into some of the nuts and bolts here before we get into
Do you want to start with the synopsis by Walt Disney Pictures?
Sure, we can do that. I was just going to say we wanted to give a little bit of background on what happened in between. So the original Santa Claus comes out in 1994. 8 years later, we get a sequel. The first Santa Claus, and we talked about this last year, but a substantial hit, grossed $190 million on a $22 million budget. So that's huge. And then, we got a lot of questions about this, and I told you that I found an article in the Wall Street Journal that discussed it, but a lot of people wonder, behind a paywall, what's that worth? A lot of people wonder, why did they wait 8 years to make a sequel? And I don't really know, because the first one was such a big hit, and it would have just made sense to make a sequel.
I've got a theory.
Sooner. The kid would have been younger. What's the theory?
My theory is they wanted to use all these really great special effects, and they just had to wait until technology caught up.
The special effects are better in the first movie, though.
No, they're not.
Really?
They're not great. They're not great in this one, but they're not better in the first one.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that, because I don't know if I agree. But I mean, they waited 8 years is a long time. When this movie comes out, Tim Allen is 2002. He's probably 50, I would say. Let's look. 49. So he's quite a bit older. I don't know. They should have made this movie sooner. I don't know why they didn't. This movie, the first movie was critically well received. I think, what did I say, 75% of Rotten Tomatoes or something close to that.
Yeah, it's like 79.
Yeah, so critically, commercially received. A Christmas classic. This movie, budget of $65 million, so about three times that of the original. Yeah. I don't know that it shows up on screen. Box office gross of $172, so it still made $110 million. So that is a sizable hit. But
it really did it just on the first movie, I would say.
Yeah, it's namesake alone, I would say. Not critically very well received, 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. We'll talk about that after we discuss the plot. But yeah, I don't know why it took 8 years. I wish it wouldn't have, because I think in many ways this is too late. And I've never seen the third one, but that seems far too late. But it does have Marty Short, everybody's favorite.
Just kind of bringing back the old Jungle to Jungle gang. So I know you're excited to cover that next Christmas.
We will not be covering that next Christmas. I'm not including that in the plan. I need a year off after this one. But yeah, I mean, don't you agree that the sequel should have come a lot sooner?
Yeah, I don't know what. It's not like the first movie didn't do well, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if they just had so many other movies that they wanted to work on, and
maybe Tim is busy with Home Improvement.
I was going to say
he's filming a lot of other movies during that period.
He's too busy. Maybe he's got other things going on. I don't know.
I just I'm not gonna harp on this, but like Eric Lloyd the Kid, it doesn't work as well in this sequel. For you can guess why, but sometimes it just doesn't. As a cute kid actor grows older, it just doesn't necessarily work, and this is a case of that. So I don't want to pick on him and his performance, but I think it would have played better a year or two after the original. But
I wonder. I don't think I've ever seen the third one. I wonder what he does in the third one.
If he's even in, he's got to be in it. Well, maybe we.
Yeah, it sounds like we have to cover the third one.
Oh no! All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. You want to give a synopsis? We'll talk about who wrote it and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Scott Calvin has been Santa Claus for the past 8 years, and his loyal elves consider him the best Santa ever. But Santa's got some problems. He's even mysteriously losing weight, and things go quickly south when he finds out that his son Charlie, who we just talked about, has landed on this year's naughty list. Desperate to help his son, Scott heads back home, leaving a substitute clause to watch over things at the North Pole. But when the substitute institutes some strange redefinitions of naughty and nice, putting Christmas at risk, it's up to Scott to return with a new bag of magic to try and save Christmas. And
I don't know. Some of those things don't really happen, but I don't know. Okay. I know it was written posthumously by Walt Disney from the grave.
Well, correct? It says Walt Disney Pictures. So, I mean, I'm shocked.
I thought Walt just wrote it.
No. Well, I'm shocked that the company came on and did this in IMDb. I also looked and saw other things that they've written the plot summaries for. You would imagine some of them are Disney films, but some of them are not. Things like The Help and...
Do you think that somebody just took the username Walt Disney Pictures?
I mean otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's a clever idea.
Step Up 3D? Why would
Well, I mean, I think probably someone just felt compelled because it's such a winning film. No, that is funny. That adds an air of legitimacy to the.
Does it?
I mean, hey, I thought it was real, and I told you to read it. So
it does add an air of legitimacy unless you do research.
Unless you actually follow through. Well, that's a great synopsis. Better than you're reading last year. You really stumbled over it. So
that was because it was written poorly. So I will say one thing about Walt Disney Pictures: they can put a sentence together.
Yeah, that's saying something. All right, so what else we got?
I think it's time to move. Well, okay. Well, there's some trivia here, and there's lots of trivia. But we just wrote down the things that we saw were interesting to us because there's probably like 10 or 11 things. So Peter Boyle, you remember him from the first movie. He played Tim's boss. He actually plays Father Time in this one.
I hate it when they do stuff like that. It's so stupid. Like, just get somebody else.
Yeah, it messes with the continuity. So now we're supposed to believe that his boss became Father Time. I don't know. But
I don't know. That's dumb. Yeah.
Anyways, so Scott Calvin, this is the second piece here. Scott Calvin starts talking about cars and engines while talking to Principal Newman in the film. And Santa picks up a tool belt. These were all intended references to Tim Taylor. Tim Allen's character in Home Improvement.
It's getting to the, with his trivia, he could get in a car and someone would be like, well, that's an obvious homage to Tim Allen from the Home Improvement because he worked on a hot rod. It's just kind of tangential.
I guess I don't remember him having those sorts of hobbies in the first one, but they maybe didn't have time to talk about it. No, they're pretty overt.
In the first one, it's like he says like the people that live here are tailors and like he grunts and stuff. So it's probably those are actual.
I don't remember a grunt at all in this film.
Oh, no, he does not grunt in this one, and I was listening.
Yeah, that's a trivia note that we should put on there. Yeah. All right, the last piece of trivia I have, the people that were considered to play Carol Newman, the principal in this film, Kelly Preston, Jennifer Connelly, and Brooke Shields.
Jennifer Connelly this role is not good enough for her.
Low for her pay grade.
She's Academy Award nominee. Kelly Preston, maybe. I actually like who they have here.
She fit in pretty well.
And I don't know much about Brooke Shields other than just by name. So, yeah, Jennifer Connelly, that would have been interesting. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure at that point in her career she would have been above this. But, those rumors are perhaps not worth a ton anyways. But
who knows?
Any more trivia or is that it?
That's it for trivia. Directed. Did you talk about the director?
I'm
going to
talk about him right now. So I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, written by just a slew of people. But the director, the previous film was John Pasquin, who has Home Improvement ties. Definitely, this one, new director Michael Lembeck. You know, a lot of TV work. A lot of TV work.
His best work is Tooth Fairy with
I
The
know,
Rock.
isn't that's strange? So he's directed Tooth Fairy with. He should have got Art LaFleur to come back. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got
What a mistake.
LaFleur versus DJ, and you're choosing DJ. So he directed that film, but a lot of TV stuff. A lot of episodes of Friends. A show called Baby Daddy. Guys with Kids. Santa Claus 2, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, obviously one of the better shows ever made. Mad About You, Veronica's Closets, Everybody Loves Raymond. A lot of shows. Big TV director.
Yeah. He also does the Santa Claus 3.
Yeah. I don't know.
You didn't want to mention that. Didn't seem appropriate in the Santa Claus episode. I just don't want to plant a lot of Santa Claus 3 seeds here. Written by, oh Lord, Don Reimer. Should we go back and forth to give you a break?
Yeah, I'll do one, you do one. All right, Don Reimer.
Cinco Paul.
Ken Dario.
Ed Decter.
John J. Strauss. Characters based on...
Leo Benvenuti, sorry.
Steve Rudnick.
Leo Benvenuti again for story. And Steve Rudnick again for story.
Carrie Kirkpatrick. So,
I don't even have her on mine.
It doesn't bode well when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 9 people credited.
I like that they're breaking it out on story and characters and screenplay. There's just so much to go on in this movie.
This film is very complex. It's like Memento, just in its plot structure, you know? It's
like Memento.
It's very complex. You start at the end, you're working your way back. So that doesn't bode well for it.
No wonder I didn't understand the movie.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
And this one came out on November 1st, 2002. Like you said, 8 years after the original. The first one was PG, and this one was only G, so they toned it down.
Yeah. Is this really only G? Wow. That surprises me, I guess.
There wasn't any,
there's nothing.
Spank me joke, you know?
There's no... There's no innuendo. It is pretty clean, I guess.
It's very family-friendly.
It's too clean for me.
Yeah.
I want a PG-13.
I wanted Comet to cause some ruckus, and it wasn't happening.
I mean, Comet farted. Is that really like G? That should be PG. It's nasty.
What do you think farting is?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty raunchy. Did you... I saw this in theaters. I remember seeing it in theaters when I was 12.
Wow. I don't think I did.
Oh, you missed out, man.
I know.
I remember my dad saying immediately after we watched it that it was not as good as the original. And he's right. I remember thinking it was just as good because I think that's... I didn't have
12.
The critical eye that I have now, but I do remember seeing this in theaters.
Now you're chopping down greats like El Camino Christmas.
Man, my takes on El Camino Christmas are going to be scalding. Headphones might melt your head during that episode.
Oh man, can't wait.
Anything else?
It's time for the log lines.
Okay, so do you want to read the official ones?
Yeah, so there's 3 official ones. We thought they weren't very good, and there wasn't enough of them, so we came up with 3 of our own. Just like a normal episode. So I'm going to start with the ones that Disney came up with. So it says, Santa Claus is coming to town November 1st.
We got to do it like we did last year. The Santa Claus 2. All right, do it over. All right, here we go. The Santa Claus 2.
Santa Claus is coming to town November 1st, which is really just a fact.
That's not good. That's not a log line. It's a fact. All right, next one. The Santa Claus 2.
Check it twice.
That's all right. All right, last one. The Santa Claus 2.
What's Christmas fun without some reindeer games?
I mean, what does that mean, you know?
I mean, there are reindeer in this movie.
Yeah, in so much as there is any movie with a Santa
There's
Claus
also
character.
snow, I guess.
Yeah, it's also Christmas and so on. All right. Okay, so we got 3. I'm going to request that we continue with the Santa Claus 2 before we read our log lines. I'll let you go first.
All right. The Santa Claus 2. Does Santa have love in his Christmas bag?
Started off promising enough, but then you got Christmas bag.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call it. I couldn't say, sack of toys, because love isn't a toy, you know?
Depends on who you talk to. All right. All right, here we go. The Santa Claus 2. A round of applause for the second clause.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sounds like Disney really should have hired us back then. When you were 12.
Walt. Yeah.
Walt, come on. All right, so the Santa Claus 2, things are going south at the North Pole.
That's good. That's quite good. Yeah. All right. The Santa Claus 2, naughty or nice, we're doing it twice.
Hey, I like these. These are better than our normal alternative titles.
And my last one's not very good. Right. But yeah, they're definitely better than the ones that Disney came up with.
Sure. All right. So the Santa Claus 2. This time Santa isn't toying around.
That's really good. Yeah. Why would they have not come up with that?
I don't know.
It's someone's job to do this, and they couldn't come up with toying around.
Jeez.
All right, my last one's real bad. And the Santa Claus 2. Going to the principal's office has never been so good. That was the one that I came up with right before we started recording.
Oh my gosh.
Fun, good? I don't know. It doesn't even make sense.
That's amazing.
All right.
Wow.
We've beat around the proverbial bush long enough. Shall we get into the plot of the Santa Claus 2?
I guess we're gonna have to. Wow. I don't know if I can recover after that one. I'm so glad you saved it for last.
It's really good.
It's really good. All right, let's open on a tundra. There is a seriousness that came through in the trailer that is starting with this film. We're in some sort of a plane. I guess it's a military plane. I didn't get that, but
yeah, that's what they said on IMDb, but I don't know if that was
there's
real
no
clear.
indications that this is military. And you know what's not an indication that it's military? The fact that they said they're checking their sonar when they're, not in the water. They're just flying around in a plane.
I gotta be honest, I wouldn't have picked up on that if I hadn't have read it on IMDb. But yeah, again, it's someone's job to write, do even just a little bit of research. But whatever.
Yeah, so they're checking the radar is what they're checking. They're getting some weird readings, including some tiny hammer sounds.
What?
So they investigate further. They zoom down and they see this icy surface, and it kind of pans away from the plane at this point, and they're gonna go and see what's under this dome. I guess it doesn't look like a dome to above. It just looks like icy surface. I don't know. But you can zoom in and we see Santa's village. There's some elves flying around. It's joyous. There's sleds. It's quaint. It's everything that you would want in Santa's village. So it's a little bit different from the underground warehouse of last movie. Do you remember when he landed and he was just on this flat surface and popped out the little keypad?
Yeah,
and then
it's there was across the board in the first one, I think, because it was 8 years before, a lot more practical effects. There's a lot of CGI here. Sounds like maybe you think it's better than I do, but they are relying on it a lot, and some of it's better than others. And yeah, I think you pretty much get the vibe right from the onset that this is going to be. They're trying to make it look good, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know
They've
what it does.
definitely added to the budget, like you said.
Yeah.
And they go inside the main building of the village, and it's bustling with elves, just like every time you've seen a Santa's workshop. They're always working so hard. I noticed that the toys require a little bit more hammering than I thought. There's not any plastic molds or anything. It's just elves hammering little hammers on all these little toys. So
yeah, it's almost like a quick little montage here in the beginning to show kind of what's happening up at the
they're moving quickly, and they
EMP.
move into a defensive area, I guess, for Santa's workshop. There's a military theme going on here, and there's a coffee theme going on here. But it's going to carry throughout the film a little bit, at least. But there's an ElfCon system in place, kind of like the DEFCON system.
Yeah.
And
it's dumb.
I was going to say, what do you think happens if they hit ElfCon 1? But we're going to find out in a moment here. Santa comes up after, he's the military
the whole thing is
general
very
here.
slow, and it's trying to, I guess they're trying to mine drama here. It's supposed to seem like an actual action film.
There's some suspense
they're
here.
Cutting
What's going to
back
happen?
and forth, and it's very serious. They're talking about ElfCon 3, and I'm just thinking I just want to see this guy deliver presents. I don't know. This isn't what I came for. I want fun. I want Tim Allen jokes. I don't want this fake action stuff. Yeah.
Too bad, you're going to get it.
I know. I get a lot of it for a long time. It takes him far too long to return to civilization.
Yeah. Well, he's silence ensues here because they're trying to stay hidden from these military planes. Mm-hmm. And the nerves are racing. I don't know about you, but my heartbeat started ticking up a little bit here. And the plane loses the noise, but instead the guy wants the pilot to hear what's going on because there's some Christmas music coming in over the radar here. And so somebody screwed up here, and Santa has to go investigate who screwed up. Turns out it's Curtis the elf, and he's playing with a dancing Santa. He's 900 years old, so he should know better.
It's weird. He's like laying in a sled.
He's real happy about it.
He's got this like dancing Santa on his stomach, and he's just kind of like playing. I don't know. It kind of just weirded me out a little bit.
This is a sign of things to come for me. Curtis is screwing up right now. He's going to screw up for a long time in this movie.
Curtis almost ruined the whole movie for me, if I'm being frank. And Curtis is played by Spencer Breslin. I'm not going to do a lot of bios because I could do a lot. Spencer Breslin, known for films such as The Cat in the Hat, The Kid, The Happening, and Raising Helen. You recognize him, I would say, if you've watched movies in the 90s, early 2000s. He was pretty popular child actor. Not done a lot lately, though. He appears to have done a couple things over the last couple of years. But no fault of Spencer Breslin here. His character sucks. I mean, it's really annoying throughout most of the film, I would say.
The keeper of the Christmas handbook. That's
Where was he in the
job.
first one? You know, they didn't even...
wasn't he there? I don't remember.
No, because he's only like 10 years old in this movie. He would have been about like 2.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Math, Jordan. We got to speed it up. Where we at? It's a long movie.
Curtis, Bernard, Santa, they're all discussing the aftermath of this. We see a reindeer that flies out of control and almost takes out Santa. It's Chet. We'll see him later. A reindeer in training. Santa leaves. Bernard prods Curtis and says, when are we going to tell him what's going on?
Why didn't they tell... I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Why didn't they tell him this 10 years ago?
I don't know. Curtis was nervous.
Curtis
Things
wasn't.
were going so well.
Jordan, Curtis wasn't there. I keep telling you, Curtis was a child.
I think he was there, but he was behind the scenes.
Oh, he was off screen.
Because he's 900 years old, so he was there somewhere.
That's so true. Yeah, I gotta find where we're at here. All right, so stomach dancing. Curtis Santa.
Curtis stomach dancing.
Brain aneurysm. Curtis has Santa dancing on his stomach. Curtis reads the Santa handbook. CGI reindeer. No more practical effects. Sad face. Chet. All right, that's the first scene. It's a long scene. They do a lot of cutting between fictitious suburban Chicago, where I'm currently located, and where I'm at is real, but where they're at is fictitious. and I hope it's real. And the North Pole. So we just keep cutting back and forth. All right. Charlie, man, he's a real in this movie. He sucks.
Yeah, he's a real rebel. He also loves to repel. This man.
I mean, so like, I wrote this later on, but like, they needed to, like, he's so like into repelling and good at repelling and proficient in repelling that they needed to have a line where it was like, yeah, Charlie went to base jumping. Like, Charlie's into rock climbing. Like, they needed one line to explain, like, because, like, that's not a common skill for a teenage boy. We were both teenage boys. I don't think either one of us can do it. But throughout the movie, he does it, like, 4 times.
There are times when he does not need to repel, and he does. And it's so great. It makes me laugh so hard.
It's his character trait. They're like, he's like, what's my motivation? They're just like, repelling.
You love to repel.
You love to repel, and you're...
At any moment, you will repel. Like, at the end, they're, like, trying to save kids and stuff.
I know, that's my favorite part. He just repels down.
Wait, we'll get there. All
right, so he's with a girl who he apparently is in love with, but this does not pay off. Almost like they cut scenes or something. And he's breaking into the school from the roof. Like, is this Mission Impossible? Like, how did he get on the roof? I don't... It's so crazy. They're about to kiss. He falls through the open... Skylight, whatever.
He doesn't die. Luckily.
It's cold where his dad works. Door, blah, 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 blah. He spray paints forever. He's, like, really good at spray painting things. It's almost like
he's been practicing.
He's like Banksy, you know? He really, really is good. Like, he does very realistic.
There's no way of knowing that he isn't Banksy.
Yeah. There is no way of knowing. He spray paints for a very long time. The girl is, like, supposed to be looking out, but she does...
Danielle. Her name's Danielle.
Okay, whatever. Sure.
She doesn't do a good job,
You could tell me it was anything, and I'd believe you.
Spanksy.
She's looking out, but like somehow she doesn't see the principal walk across the entire gymnasium with a ladder, put the ladder up, climb the ladder, and meet Charlie as he's rappelling. Like, what kind of a lookout are you?
I gotta say that Principal Newman is pretty sneaky to be able to like walk and do all that stuff with the ladder and not make any noise.
He did he spray paint the Christmas tree and then put the the red anti-sign over it, or was the Christmas tree already there? That was where I was confused.
Maybe he did the Christmas tree.
Must be, he had to have. Because why would you have a Christmas tree
spray painted all the way up there on the wall?
I don't know. So he gets busted. And
busted. You know what I like too? Busted. Before you go on too much, they had like some punk rock music playing in the background. It's real rebellious.
You mean
right
some
now.
like Sum 41 2002 music or Seether? Yeah, he's a rebel, and that's something we're gonna see throughout. He's really having a tough time because his dad is Santa, and he can't tell people what his dad does, as if like that is a really important thing.
This secret is just eating him up inside.
Yeah, and he's really, really, as we've said, he's rebelling. The principal's name is Newman. You get a lot of like, "Hello, Principal Newman." I couldn't help but wonder if they're doing like a "Hello, Newman" kind of thing.
They had to have
Seinfeld. I don't know. It's just a thought. All right, next scene, North Pole. Take it away.
Your disdain is just fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back at the workshop now, and they go back and forth a lot in this movie, and Santa is fixing a toy, encouraging his workers. He's just being jolly in general, and you know what? The elves have noticed in the past 8 years, because several times you hear that he's like the best Santa ever.
Yeah, they're really like, I was going to say, they're really talking the previous Santa. He's the best Santa. Kids have never been happier.
Maybe they're just scared because they know that he killed the last Santa.
Yeah, maybe they are. This is basically, I wrote this down. This is like a Santa is cool kind of montage. Like,
it sure
he's just like walking around, kind of interacting with the elves. He like, is this the scene where the kid is like working on the toy and it doesn't hop right, and Santa's like, take off the hat.
Yeah.
And he takes off the hat. Like the kid was like a second away from doing that, but Santa comes in and suggests he take off the hat for this jumping toy and then gets all the glory.
Santa's really micromanaging the workshop.
Is this the scene where they play football?
Well, it's right before this. I wanted to say before that, there's a point where he asks about the new tinsel, and then they drop it all over him. Yeah. And then it leads to he's going to punish them, but he's going to punish them with a game of football.
Why? Like, why did they do this? It isn't like. I mean, it's funnier later on when the evil Santa plays, because like at least that is doing something. This is just like kind of stupid.
Well, and before they get to the football game, there's another like cutaway where Bernard and Curtis are fighting again over like this piece of news that they must deliver to Santa.
Yeah, why don't you just tell them already? I'm tired of hearing about it.
There's no time because we're gonna go outside and play football. There's some intense music. There's some slow motion. It's Santa versus everyone, which seems a bit unfair. I mean, it's like 12 on 1.
Blitz. He's trying to blitz.
Why would he tell them to play? Also, these elves are kind of dumb because all they need to do is pass instead of run to really just end this game.
I saw a lot of forward laterals as well.
What kind of rules are they playing up at the North Pole?
I don't know. Probably like, what's a middle school flag, like indoor football we played in middle school where you could forward lateral?
Oh, tag football or something like that?
I don't know.
Sideline football.
Sideline football, yeah. A lot of forward laterals in that. Bobby Sanchez always used to throw the ball over people's heads and try to catch it himself. It's like, I mean, you can do that if you want, but people are going to see that coming.
Yeah. So, you know, the elf score here,
Wait,
Santa...
You think Bobby Sanchez listens?
I think he does.
Okay.
We'll hear. Cool. Bobby, if you're listening, write into us, please.
Yeah, thanks.
So... The elves score. It's finally time to talk to Santa about what's going on. This apparently a touchdown is what made them come to their senses, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But inside, they go to his room. The creepy puppets from the first movie are still there. They're still putting on a show. Mm-hmm. Abby, the girl who is just wonderful in the first film, she brings the cookies and
different
the
girl.
tea.
Different girl.
This is a different girl, but it's supposed to be the same person. You know, she comes, but she bears some bad news here. And it turns out that Charlie is now on the naughty list.
Is this your first laugh?
Yes,
when
because
Sheen?
Yeah.
Yes, me too. I knew, because we had talked about this, I knew because I don't know why. It's not that funny, but when he said that, I went, like
it
really
was just
loud.
completely unexpected.
Yeah,
He says, so it says Charlie's on the list, and he says, oh no, not Charlie Sheen. I thought he was getting things in order
It's
or
funny
whatever.
because this is years before he really went off the deep end. But it's a good line.
It's a good line.
There are, it's not the only good line, but there are not a ton, so it is worth
notable.
mentioning. Yeah, it's worth mentioning. So
but
that's not the bad news. There's worse
there's
news.
more bad news.
Yeah.
So Curtis starts to spill it. There's another clause, CLAUSE, the clause that you never got before when you first watched this.
I mean, it's kind. I don't even want to get into it, but
homonyms, they're tough.
Yeah.
Homophones. All right, so homonyms. He breaks. Basically, Curtis breaks out the card, that little card from the first film that isn't even laminated or anything. I'm surprised this thing is in such good shape, but
it's magic.
Yeah, so they bring out really just this magnifying machine, I guess you would call it, and just get closer and closer and closer until they get the really fine print. Turns out he has to get married to a Mrs. Claus, or he can't be Santa anymore. It's not valid in the state of Utah, though.
Is it? Who said that? Someone said that?
It's written on the card.
Gosh. Is that like a Mormon joke or something?
I don't know. It's so weird.
Not valid in the state of Utah. Huh, interesting. That's what happens. He's already started to lose weight. Like it's what they call the desantification process. Great story, Mark. He's desantifying, so he's losing weight. Basically, everything that happened in the first movie where he becomes Santa, the opposite is happening. So he's going to just begin to sort of look more like
a human,
like Tim Allen. And it's already begun. And
he only has 28 days to
28 days later.
It's not a zombie film, but he has 28 days to find a wife, which is basically by Christmas Eve. Everything always aligns with Christmas.
Yeah, I wrote Bernard has no chill. Bernard's just perpetually very, very angry.
Bernard is just trying to keep the workshop in order. And you know what? If people listened to Bernard in this movie, none of this would ever happen. None of the bad things.
Curtis is making some real choices. I just didn't know what to make of Curtis. And Curtis he's just annoying, man. It's so annoying. Bernard is all right. It's like Bernard from the first movie, but he doesn't have Charlie to bounce off of, so he's like not as endearing. Because that's like why Bernard in the first movie is tolerable, because he's so nice to Charlie.
Because he loves kids.
Yeah, he likes kids. He's a good guy. Man, David Krumholtz, I'm sure you didn't watch The Deuce on HBO. No. It's a really good show. But he's like a porn producer in that, or a porn director, and he's like 120 pounds heavier. He's so big. It's interesting. I don't know if he's making a choice as an actor, but he's a big guy now.
Well, Curtis is making choices, that's for sure.
He does not have dreads anymore, though.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Though I wish he did. All right, so we keep going, and this is, if the movie wasn't already inferior to the first one, this is when it really, really solidifies itself as, it's just an entirely different movie, and we'll talk about that at the end. It's trying to do different things, and this is really a showcase of that. But the Council, is it the Council of Legends?
Legendary Figures.
Council of Legendary Figures shows up for a meeting, and this is almost like a UN of...
Legendary Figures.
Yeah, fictitious...
We've got Mother Nature, we've got Father Time, we've got the Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, Cupid, Sandman. Everybody's there.
All right, I'm not going to give bios, but I'm going to say who plays it, because it's kind of it's a murderer's row. Obviously, we got the dude Art LaFleur playing the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, buddy.
From Home Improvement. Kyle and... what episode is that? Do you remember when he comes
it's
down?
early on. It's really early on.
He's good.
It's the first season.
Yeah. He's basically like the third lead in this movie, which is weird. Aisha Tyler playing Mother Nature. She's gone on to do voice on Archer. Kevin Pollak plays Cupid. Michael Dorn plays the Sandman. Jay Thomas plays the Easter Bunny. Easter Bunny's kind of funny.
Easter Bunny's kind of creepy.
Yeah, but he has some good lines, I thought. And who do we say? Peter Boyle plays Father Time or something.
Did you say who plays Cupid?
Yeah, Kevin Pollak.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So it's a lot of like famous people, or sort of famous people, probably above these roles. It's a really, like, the only funny bits are, like, I thought the Easter Bunny has said some kind of funny things, but overall it's just like really, really stupid. It's hard to watch almost, especially when Mother Nature says that she's pre-El Nino.
The Easter Bunny has 33,000 kids, all in private school.
Yeah, it's expensive. I must have been wanting to laugh to have been on that one, but yeah.
You know what? The biggest problem is the Tooth Fairy wants a new name. He's tried the Tooth Man, the Tooth Guy, the Tooth. They were all rejected, so he's got some other ideas. Captain Floss, Plaque Man, and Roy.
Yeah.
What is? I don't get Roy.
Santa suggests what?
The Molinator.
The Molinator.
Yeah. So Santa's trying to be kind, and you know what? The Tooth Fairy is going to remember that.
Yeah, and that will come full circle.
Sure will. So Santa, Scott Calvin, SC, whatever you want to call him, he shares his updates. Charlie, everyone loves Charlie. You know, he starts talking about Charlie.
Kid.
Everybody's like, oh, great kid. Love him. He's got great teeth. Whatever. The Mrs. Claus comes up. Santa asks Cupid for help. I wish this was like a solution, because then we wouldn't have to go through all this. But Cupid can't do it. His arrows have no effect on legendary figures.
That's convenient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's almost like they brought this up, and then somebody's like, oh, that's a plot hole, and then they filled it, you know?
Almost like that.
Almost. Everyone wants to help. Santa's a huge hit. They say this again, like Santa's the best ever. I think his satisfaction rating's at like an all-time high.
Santa's like Obama during those 8 years. Just great.
All right.
Barack Obama, for clarification. not Bo or Malik.
Bo is the best. Yeah. All right, so that's the Council of Legendary Figures. Everybody knows what's going on.
What was the point?
Why'd they meet?
Yeah, what was?
I think it was just a world building scene.
Yes, and the world was built very thoroughly and effectively. I was tantalized.
They needed to introduce the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah,
I'm wondering why these legendary figures didn't come help in the battle that they have later.
Probably because they're pre-El Nino.
I think Father Time's got some tricks up his sleeve. The Easter Bunny could have brought 33,000 little bunnies to attack.
Oof, I'm glad they didn't. The Easter Bunny was kind of creepy. He maybe had some good bits. He definitely studied at Second City, but he's.
It's funny that you wrote that you liked him, and I wrote down that he's strange.
The Easter Bunny is kind of funny, scary. Yeah,
scary
we're on
for
the same
sure.
Page. All right, we are going to play a clip now. I wrote a clip here. It's hard doing longer episodes.
The smoothest intro into a clip we've ever had.
Well, Curtis has a plan. And,
yeah, we're back with the inner circle now.
Yeah,
this is Curtis.
They've left.
Jeez.
It's the holiday season, Jordan. I got different things on my mind.
All right, so let's play a clip.
All right, let's play a clip.
Curtis, I see where this is going. I am not getting in that machine.
Right. Besides, creating a copy of Santa Claus won't solve our problems. It would be a toy.
And the elves will know.
But this be a very special toy.
How's that, Curtis?
Okay, I added a fuzzy logic circuit to the pantograph. The duplicate will look and think just like you. So when you're with your family, dealing with Charlie, and looking for a wife...
The toy Santa will be up here melting in front of my fireplace.
No, the toy Santa will be dealing with business up here.
I can deal with business up here. Santa, if the elves ever find out that we've made a switch... No. This machine is not the answer.
Hey, you, shoot!
Whoa.
Look, you can't get much better than that. And I promise, it won't hurt a bit.
I'm going in.
Oh, I can't watch.
All right, so Curtis has a grand idea. If we can just have two Santas in place, one at the North Pole and one back to fix up Charlie and all of his problems, and to get married, of course, then everything's solved. So we're going to create a toy Santa. They have a duplication machine, I guess. I don't know.
I think Curtis built it.
You think so? He's a mad scientist, a little bit.
900 years old, you can perfect something like that over 900 years.
Yeah, that's right. So they're going to take this little toy Santa, or they're going to take Santa and create a toy Santa, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
first they do it with a mouse, and that convinced.
It works perfectly.
It works perfectly. And CGI mouse, I might add, which... I mean, I'm glad it wasn't real because I would have stopped watching. Disgusting. They do it with Santa, and he comes out, and it's like a fake out. He acts like he's a toy, but then the real Santa comes out, the toy Santa comes out, and the toy Santa is... So it's Tim Allen with, like, plastic hair and
beard.
And beard. Tim Allen face. It looks like a toy. I guess it's good. It's weird.
It's as good as it's gonna be, I guess.
Yeah, I guess what else are you gonna do?
It's supposed to look kind of human, but not. There's something
obviously
off.
not. It's obviously a toy. He is, he comes out. He's robotic and kind of just like repeats whatever people say. But the problem I have with him. He's just like really annoying.
I think he's kind of funny.
Really.
I don't know. I mean, the shtick gets old after a while, but I like that he just yells and he only has one like tone, and he's very by the book.
I feel like it was probably fun for Tim Allen, the actor.
I agree.
It looked like he was having fun with it. Whether or not I was having fun watching it is an entirely different story. But it did, like, I think he played it well, and it seemed enjoyable for him. But I don't know, whatever.
You don't like it. I'm kind of upset. Bernard submits before they do this. He's against it all the way. He says, why don't I just take care of the workshop and you finish what you got to do down south?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm wondering why he couldn't do this. They don't really give a good reason. They just say no.
I mean, it's a cop-out. Yeah, I think the idea is just like if Santa's not there, why would people want to work hard for Christmas? But like you could just tell all the elves like, hey, like there won't be a Santa or Christmas if he doesn't go take care of this. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I think he only exists to service the plot, I guess.
Yeah, and at the end of the scene, Bernard, again, he reiterates that it's a bad idea. He doesn't want to lie, and then zoom to the next scene, and Bernard is explaining to everyone in the workshop about Santa. He is lying. He doesn't want to do this, but he has to, apparently. It's a new look, he says. Be nice. Don't say that it's plastic. So he's preparing everyone, and they move on to the next scene.
Yeah, Santa leaves with Comet, star of the first film, relegated to farting chocolate bar eater in this installment. And they introduce a magic watch, which is like, I mean, it just really sort of comes out of nowhere, sort of a Chekhov's gun
another
kind
Curtis
of situation.
Creation, probably.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's this watch. You have 10 magic acts, I guess.
Magic
like range?
Quantities.
Yeah, like sometimes you could, like if you want to guess a little girl's name, that's one, but if you want to give everybody in a big party the Christmas present they want, that's also one, evidently. So it's really underexplained and underdeveloped. But he has a watch with some Christmas magic in it. The Comet's being a buzzkill, and it doesn't really want to leave. But
he's making some... Okay, do you remember him making these noises in the first film? Like, he's making some weird noises.
He's like talking in this movie. But I don't know what I was listening really closely. I toyed around with turning on the subtitles to see if they were... But I didn't. Ultimately, I didn't. I toyed around with it, but I didn't. I wanted to know if it was actually words, but yeah, he talks a little bit too much. I wish I could go back in time and they would have brought me in to do punch-up on the Comet bits, because I have some really like clever Comet ideas for just like skits and sketches and stuff that I would have loved to have taken from my notebook and put in the film. But
wow, can we hear about those, or is that something only our Patreon listeners will get?
I don't know that anybody gets it. That's my private stash, man.
You're always hoarding that stuff.
We're at Sycamore Middle School.
Yeah, we've moved on. We're at the school. They meet up with Neil and Laura, and Neil's got the same great sweaters that he wore in the first film. Laura has changed her haircut, and definitely for the better, I would say.
I wondered if it was a wig. I always wonder if... Kirsten will comment that I always think that women in TV shows are wearing wigs. So
it looks nice. They have like a whole hair makeup crew.
Wignar.
Jeez.
I would say in this movie, this is weird to say, but like Neil and Laura, they don't have enough to do.
They don't do a lot.
They're hardly. I mean, they're only in like a couple of scenes, and I mean, Laura could take or leave, but like it would have been good to have some more Judge Reinhold bits.
Neil is in it a little bit. They do talk about him for a little while.
Not I don't know. I mean, the first movie.
The story is more about love in Toy Santa. So
you're trying to tell me Neil couldn't contribute to a story about love?
He does. They talk about him.
Get out of here.
Neil contributes his sweater.
A lot of sweaters that are, again, much like I said last year, they're being played as their ugly joke sweaters. Kind of cool. Sweaters I would wear. I'm wearing a sweater right now.
Yeah, you would. All right, so you see the relationship, how it's changed from the first film to the second film.
Very warm. It's warm now.
Yeah, they like each other.
They had a kid.
There is a new kid. We're not there yet, but we'll talk about that. Principal Newman comes by. Hello, Newman. Yeah. She's a real tough cookie.
I'm gonna do a bio on her, and I think I'm gonna do it right about now. Principal Newman, played by Elizabeth Mitchell. Pretty busy. 46 credits to her name. Best known for her work on Lost. Did you watch Lost?
I did not watch Lost.
In Lost, she plays Dr. Juliet Burke. I think she's very, very well known for that. Otherwise, a lot of TV stuff. She was on a TV show called The Lion's Den, which I believe we've run across before doing this. Boston Legal. She's in the third Santa Claus movie, of course. Lost. 55 episodes. V. Revolution, Once Upon a Time. She's recently in the Purge election year, so she's busy.
You don't have to read all 46 credits.
Okay. Get ready to do some editing, because you're making me very upset when you... Jordan, context is good. All right?
Okay.
Context is good.
So she's busy.
She's working. That's what I'm trying to establish. She's working. She's good. She's good in this movie. She's
a doctor. She's a principal.
She's nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Lost, for crying out loud.
All right.
People want to know.
She, in this film, she starts in on Scott Calvin right away. She says, as soon as she meets up, and she says, if you weren't away so much, maybe your son wouldn't have these issues.
All right, here's some problems with...
I got a problem with this
principal depiction. One, you can't say that. If
no principal would say this.
You'd
have a lot of problems.
Be in danger of losing your job. Two, the issue here moving forward is, so in this film, he spray paints, he vandalizes the school, and they're like, we are thinking about suspending you. If you vandalize the school, you would get expelled and probably end up going to court the first time. Even after the first time, he's out of school for good, and maybe he might even I don't know if he would go to juvie or whatever, but he would there'd probably be prosecution.
Even if there normally wouldn't, I feel like she is presented in this film as such a hard cookie that she would do that. Anyways,
well, I mean,
she would take it further.
You would have. Well, I mean, anybody does. You would get expelled for sure. And even after the second time he does it, she still doesn't suspend him. He does it again later on, and they're like, "Well, we have to talk about suspension." No, you're out of school the first time. You're not coming back. They really underplay it. So the depictions of the principal stuff in this just doesn't really work. But whatever.
And as they're talking, I think there's a kid who's kind of being tardy from class who comes by, and she destroys him. So she's a tough one.
She's stern.
She's stern, and she's not going to take any guff except for kind of.
Except for she really softens.
So they move on into the office. As you said, the principal is threatening suspension. So then she, I think she's hitting on Neil here. She's asking for his theories.
She's not.
I'm just messing. But yeah, she's asking Neil for his theories, and Scott Calvin doesn't want to hear any of Neil's theories. So in this way, I guess their relationship isn't, that great.
Scott's coming in hot.
Yeah, he wants to get rid of this and get this taken care of.
He doesn't. I don't think anyone understands. Principal included the severity of what has transpired. Scott plays it off well, the reason he did it is because there's not enough Christmas stuff in this school. It's no.
There's no Christmas spirit at this stupid school.
It's a power move when he slaps down a 20 and is buy yourself a tree.
A wreath, I think.
I like it when people do that. They just slap down money. Buy yours. It's in what's that? Uncle Buck, when John Candy is in the school telling off the principal, and he gives the woman a quarter, and he says, "Why don't you pay some rat to gnaw that wart off your face?"
Do you think that was an homage to that film?
Yeah. Have you seen Uncle Buck?
I haven't.
Watch a movie. Good Lord. See something.
I watched the Santa Claus too.
Watch better movies.
I watched Blade Runner. What do you want me to do?
You loved Blade Runner. You're the only person in the world that loved it.
I did find someone else this weekend who liked it too.
That's good. All right, where are we at?
I don't know. Yeah, Scott's solution is make Charlie promise not to do it again. That's good enough for him.
Stupid.
And then he's out.
We cut to the North Pole. Fake Santa is programmed. He's getting smarter, it seems. He drinks cocoa, and he loves it. Cocoa. And he is feeling buzzed.
He is feeling buzzed. He also is a stickler for the rules. He likes to follow the rules. He's reading the handbook. He notices that things aren't quite the way they should be.
No, that's a problem for him. Cut back home. McDonald's promotion ensues. It's like a McDonald's commercial. They're holding these bags so prominently the M's are there.
It probably was. It was probably paid.
100% was paid.
Yeah.
It's very, very obvious. Like, they are just... It's perfectly lined up. They're holding the McDonald's
product
bags.
placement. It
for
happens.
Sure. Yeah. They talk... He, like, explains the clause to them, and everybody kind of takes it in stride, actually. Like, no one... I mean, I guess, like, if your ex-husband's Santa Claus, like, everything after that is just kind of like, that makes sense. But she, like, knows that he's afraid of commitment because they dated for 3 years before they got married. Pretty normal, I would say. 3 years might even be short, I would say.
What do you want? 1 year? 0 years?
What'd
5 months? I was gonna say, what does she want? Like 1 month and then try to get married? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, it'd be like, I feel like the joke would be like, we did it for 8 years or something. Like 3 years.
Yeah, up the ante, guys.
Yeah, like regular. I don't know.
There's too many writers in this room.
Yes.
I can't figure out the numbers.
One of them was like 50 and the other one was like 2, and then we got to meet in the middle. This is where we learn that they have had a daughter. Daughter is Liliana Mumi. She is best known for the Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3, Cheaper by the Dozen, Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I bet you've seen those Cheaper by the Dozen films.
I've seen the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one.
I've seen them both. She does some TV work of late, a lot of voice work, The Loud House, Bravest Warriors, one of your favorites. She's on Fresh Off the Boat. She's working. One thing I noted, or I suspected, and then I did some research, but her dad, Bill Mumi, famous child actor, in some big Twilight Zone episodes.
Really?
He plays Anthony in...
Is he the one who, like,
wishes
makes
people to the cornfield? Yeah.
I get it. They look a lot alike.
Yep, that's her dad, and he's in Lost in Space as well. So, yeah. Interesting
Very
little fact
interesting.
there.
And so Lucy is her name in the film, right?
Yep,
okay.
Lucy. And she plays the cute young
Charlie.
child. Yeah. Cute young
plays the
Charlie,
Charlie role.
essentially, you're right, yeah. Yeah, probably.
All right, so we'll go back to the workshop. Santa is now learning on the job. He loves saying ho ho ho. He just says it all the time.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Bernard, yeah, it's hilarious. Bernard is starting to come around to this. He's like, all right, maybe this could work. And
Curtis really needs validation.
He does. It appears that there are some rules that are not being followed, as I said earlier. And Toy Santa and Curtis, they have some ideas and they want to make some changes. So Curtis was kind of playing a power move all along. You think, huh?
Yeah, Curtis is playing chess. We're playing checkers.
Yeah. So that's that scene.
Yep.
And
it's a lot of cutting. Like, I mean,
it's a lot of cutting, and like
the scenes in the beginning of the film are quite long. From here on out, it's like boom, 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 boom. So get ready, strap in. We're doing this.
In. It's a wild ride. Right. We're already an hour in, basically. So, all right. So back in suburban Chicago, wherever they're at, Scott Calvin has a nice Neil sweater on. And he's going to take the minivan, and what is he going to do? He's going to go on a date, because it's time to get himself a Mrs. Claus. So,
yeah, man, and the desantification has continued. I mean, every time we see him, he's a little bit
He doesn't have a beard
slimmer.
anymore.
He doesn't have a beard.
His hair's not white anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't look good, but he's getting there.
There's not a woman on earth who wouldn't want a piece of that.
Including Molly Shannon, and that's where we're heading with the next scene. So it's one of Laura's friends.
Yeah.
All right, and this is a scene we're going to play a clip for because I think it's quite funny, and we couldn't necessarily do it justice. So he goes out on a date. It doesn't go as he planned, and Jordan, let's play a musical clip.
So what do you do?
I'm actually hoping someday to break into the music business as a singer-songwriter.
No way.
Way.
What's your favorite kind of music?
Country western.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you like Shania Twain?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing about singing at Christmas is the Coco carolyn and fine. Know that one?
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah, go
that's...
totally Yuletide. Taking a sleigh ride.
Good.
Santa shirt, reindeer skirts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Watching
Watching the windows fog, drinking some eggnog.
That's good.
Fill up a stocking. I spray on some flocking.
Oh.
Put up a tree.
Hey.
Sports on TV. I want to be free, yeah, to feel the way I feel. Man, I feel like some Christmas.
Whew.
What, you hated it?
It kind of scared me a little bit. No, I wasn't prepared for a performance, so if
You know what? I totally put myself out there doing that, and that was not an easy thing to do. And if you're the kind of man that can't support a woman's ambition, then I don't think there's any reason to continue this date.
So I really think that this scene is funny. I think Molly Shannon's just really good. I'm not going to do a bio on her because I have to limit the bios at some point. But SNL, a lot of character work, film work as well. But she does a parody of Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Man, I Feel Like Some Christmas. And she just really loves Christmas, and she kind of stands up and performs it. And yeah, this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, I would say.
They're in a nice restaurant, and she just goes for it, man. She wants to be... She's an aspiring singer-songwriter. So.
Yeah, well, and he says it was just a little bit much, and she is out there. Hey, if you can't stand by me, yeah, see you later.
Oh, man. It doesn't go well for Santa. He's going to have some trouble. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I think so, too.
All right, that is the end of the first half of our Santa Claus 2 special. If you want to catch the second half, make sure to check your podcast feed right around Christmas Eve. Should be in there. Thank you for listening to part 1, and stay tuned.